to woman, you lift me up. I hope that I can do the same for you. You were there when no one else would. Take the burden away, that's how we do. Sister, I need you to walk with me on this journey. Yes, hold me accountable, cause sometimes I need to know the truth. Sister, I love you. We're one and the same, cause we're sharing the pain of the world as we know it to be.
Woo-hoo! Woo, 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 woo! Woo! I'm so excited. I am super duper, uber duper excited. Welcome to the Woman to Woman show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is our first show. We are so excited to be here. I am your host, Trey Kearney. I am a certified life coach, speaker, autism mom, author, and I'm just excited to be here. So we are going to introduce ourselves, and I'm going to pass the mic to Theo.
Good evening. Good evening. I am Theodora, aka Theo Carter. I am a certified life coach, author, speaker, HR consultant, and I am delighted to be here this evening.
Sheila.
Good evening. My name is Sheila Isom. By day, I am an insurance claims supervisor, and any other time, I am an independent consultant, stylist for Color Street, and I sell nail polish strips.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shayla Williams. I'm the owner operator of Shay's Corner, an apparel decorating company, and I'm also author, actress, model, etc. Thank you for being here.
Unmute, Gina.
Hello, I am Regina Howard Norman. I am the owner of RHN Unlimited, which also houses Regina's Baking Academy, where I love to teach people how to bake and cook from scratch. It's nothing like home cooking. And I also bake and serve the needs of people's sweet delights. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Manetta Fields. I am the excited wife of Charles, and I have two wonderful children. I'm also the owner of Holistically Motivated Wellness Consultants. I am a certified strengths coach, and I'm excited to share with you all from our knowledge as moms.
Regina.
Hello, my name is Regina Booker. I am a self-care innovator. I have Season and Fabulous where we do retreats and we teach women about taking care of themselves because we take care of ourselves, we can take care of our families. We always know that we, as women, we always come on the back burner, but self-care is definitely what we are all about in this Season and Fabulous. Thank you, ladies.
Welcome, everybody, to the Woman to Woman show again. I'm so excited to be here. Tonight, we will be discussing the topic motherhood. We will be discussing motherhood from all different angles. We have all different mothers here. We have some women who are not mothers, and we will talk about that. So our first question for tonight is, our first topic for tonight is, what is your relationship? What was your relationship like growing up with your mother, and how has it affected your adulthood? And we'll start that question with Theo.
So I would say that the one I am the baby, and I often would say that I was a surprise because most of my sibling is like 7 years older than me. But I would say my relationship was a good one. But I would say that I was actually raised not only by my mother, but my grandmother and several of my aunts. So I had a plethora of women that have contributed to who I turned out to be as an adult.
Sheila, tell us a little bit about your relationship with your mom.
I am what they call the knee baby. I am the third child out of four. 3 girls and a boy. Um, Southern roots, and I'm only a year younger than my brother. So I saw the dynamics of that mother-son relationship, but couldn't understand why there was a difference between how I was treated versus how he was treated when there was just a years difference. But my mother was a mother. There was no such thing as a friendship. Um, you did what she told you to do because that's how she was raised. That's how she thought motherhood should be. So we grew up in a household where she was the disciplinarian, and what she said was what happened, and that's how it was.
Wow. Shay, tell us a little bit about your relationship with your mom.
Well, I would go back to a memory I have of listening to my mom in the kitchen singing while she was cooking. I was a hefty baby, bald. Um, but I remember her telling me that I always cried when she put me down. So she was very slim in when she had me, and she would have to do like her housework with me on her side. So imagine I was a hefty baby. That means I was fat and I was heavy. And she would cook and clean with me, on her hips. But my memory of her, one of my fondest memory really is listening to her singing in the kitchen. And she didn't think she had a voice, but yeah, it was beautiful. So
Gina.
My memory of my mom growing up, I really was raised by my mother and my grandmother. My mom was, to me, she was like a superhero. I would always look at her with these beautiful coats and stuff, and I'm like, wow. And she looked tall. I always thought my mother was so tall till I got older, but she was still, and still is, a superhero to me. But I was definitely raised between my mother and my grandmother, and I think I have more of the influence of my grandmother. She had more of a quiet nature. She was a little more stoic, but kind of had a sense of humor. She has a big funny side to her. So when I think about motherhood and I think about moms, I think about my mother, and I think about the strong influence of my grandmother being in my life, which I was so, so, so blessed to have.
Yes. Netta.
I had and I have an amazing relationship with my mom. My mother showed me what it was like to juggle working out of the home and taking care of the home, making sure everything was done. So she modeled how to care and love for her family. And I'm just honored and grateful that she instilled that in me.
I love it. Regina.
Hi. My mom was a strong, strong woman. I am the oldest and the only girl, and I have three brothers. So therefore, it was a lot of strong roots put in me. And my mom, if I had cried about something like, "What are you crying about?" She always put strength in me. And the one thing that I do remember about my mom, because she was a mother. She really wasn't my friend, but she became my friend when she turned 75. And it was this amazing thing that we had between us. Well, it was no longer a mother and daughter, but it was a friendship. And I couldn't even tell you the dynamics and what happened. It was just something that changed about us. And we were more than a mother and daughter. We were woman to woman with respect for each other.
Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. Y'all are making me emotional. So I don't have my mom anymore, but my relationship with my mom was it was good. My mom was a very loving and caring person. My mom would take in stray animals literally. Family members lived with us. So I've never had a memory of people not being in our home, which gave me the spirit of always wanting people around, which is a blessing and a curse. My mom had drug and alcohol problems, so there were times when she parented me, and then there were other times when I parented her, and it taught me strength, but it also taught me codependency. So there were some things that I needed to unlearn as far as being over helpful with people or trying to save people. So I love my mom, but like I said, there was a lot of dysfunction in the home, and she lost her mom. And this is one of the reasons why I never held anything over my mother's head, and I was able to love on her and forgive her way above and beyond, is because my mom lost her mother at 15 years old. So she did the best that she could do from just having a mother up until the age of 15, because there was no one there to teach her how to be a mother. So like a lot of us, we're learning along the journey. We're unlearning and learning some things. So let's get into this conversation. So I'm gonna start with Sheila. So a lot of times, mothers are single mothers, and I know that you co-parented because I know you personally. And I know that a lot of times the mother has a child in the house, right? Most of the time, the courts make us the custodial parent, and the father gets the children on weekend. And then there are women whose children go and live with their fathers, and they get a bad rap. Like, oh, who would let their child go live with the father? What's wrong with her? What kind of mother is she? So we talked about you being a weekend mom. I want to know how that was for you, how it made you feel, and why you made that decision.
Right off the bat, I can tell you it was the hardest thing I ever had to do in my life. I would always tell people that Friday nights were the best nights of my life because that's when I picked up my son. And Sunday evenings were the worst nights of my life because that's when I had to take him back to his dad's house. We're so accustomed to children being with the mother and the fathers never being present. I was blessed to have a father for my child who wanted to take on the responsibility, because even though we weren't getting along, we knew that we had to put aside our differences for the sake, health, and well-being of our child. And ultimately, it made us healthier as individuals. So that was my role. Weekends and vacations, that's when I had my son. And his father was primarily responsible for making sure that he got to school. I took care of the clothing and the health insurance, all the stuff that normally the father does because the child is with the mother. The roles were totally reversed. However, we co-parented, and we co-parented effectively. Not that we agreed on everything, which is something that you can get when you have both parents in the home, but we made sure that we always had a solid front in front of our child, because at the end of the day, it was all about making sure that he was healthy, that we were teaching him how to be a productive adult as he was growing.
Wow.
It hurt. And I can still remember the first day that I dropped him off. And I came home and I cried like a baby. I felt like my chest had caved in. And to be honest with you, there was a little part of me that felt like I was being a bad mother, because child is supposed to be with their mother, right?
Yes.
But then I had to put all that aside, because then it became about me, and it was never, ever about me. It was never, ever about his father. It wasn't about our relationship, except for when it came to our son and that common ground.
Wow. That's deep. I mean, because like I said, I have cousins who have let their child go live with the father, and people like, oh, she's an unfit mother. Who would do that? Why would you do that? But it's really adult of you to be able to sacrifice. That's really a sign of love of a mother, to say, I'm willing to sacrifice my heart, because our children are a piece of us walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when we have to let them go, even to school, as when they were small, like, oh my God, send you to school. What if something happens to you? But I commend you, and I thank you for even sharing that, because there's this level of shame that society wants to put on a woman if the child lives with the father.
Right.
I'm like, we not 50-50, we 100-100. Why the baby got to live with me? And I'm not saying I don't want my kids with me. I'm just saying it is hard to be a mother, and especially a single mother. So we're going to go over to Theo. Theo, so we're going to talk about motherhood from the standpoint of, when you decide maybe that you don't want to be a mother, and the role of motherhood from a different aspect of maybe being an auntie or a friend?
So I would say that, I would say as a kid, right? I saw that white picket fence and children. And then as I got older, there became a point where I was like, hey, wait a minute. Especially when I started traveling, right? Where I was like, I want children. And then I was also living, I would say, probably the best of both worlds because I felt like I had siblings and friends who were having children for me.
Oh,
I had the benefit, right, of having nieces and my friends' children who call me auntie, and I could go get them if I wanted to go to take them to the movies or take them out to Chuck E. Cheese or to hang out or have them for the day. But I got to take them back home, right?
yes.
And so I would say, I think I think me not having children probably impact people around me more than it impacted me. Like I've never felt that I am missing out on anything because I love children. I have like 4 godchildren. I have nieces and nephews. I have one niece who's like a daughter to me, probably several of them. So I think, I just want other women to feel comfortable with the fact like there's nothing wrong with you if you decide not to have children, because there was a time when I felt like, okay, what's wrong? Like you made this decision to not have children and you stuck to it. What's wrong with you? Do you not have maternal instinct? And then I realized that I do have maternal instinct. I just didn't want the responsibility of taking care of another person 24 hours a day.
Oh my goodness. My God, my God, my God. I love it. Go ahead, Theo. No, finish that thought.
And so I didn't, I wanted to be responsible, right? I feel like if I brought a child into this world, then that child is going to take every part of me, right? Because that's just who I am, right? And I didn't want to bring a child into the world and not be able to give them every part of me, right? Because I enjoy being able to pick up and go as I please. I enjoy being able to do what I want, right? But I also enjoy having the benefit of other people's children that I could go and get and hang out with and have fun with, but I could take them back home.
Girl, come get Jermaine. Girl, come get Jermaine. Come on, girl, come get your god nephew.
Yeah, exactly.
I just come pick this boy up. I know.
I will, because he love me.
I respect that though, and a lot of times, like you said, a lot of times there's this shame again on our decisions as women and our bodies, as our decision with women and our children, what we want to do with them, whether it be a mom who decides that it's best for my son to go live with his father during his teenage years to be the man that he's supposed to be, or whether we decide we don't want to have children. Society is like, oh, what's wrong with her? Or what is she doing? So I commend you for saying, listen, I'd rather understand that I am enjoying not being a mom to some degree in a positive way, and that I really don't want that responsibility. So why would I put that on a child? That's adult, because society makes us think that, oh, you're a woman, you're supposed to be a mother. You have to be a mother, or there's something wrong with you. So for people that are listening right now, when Thanksgiving dinner comes and Christmas and we get together at family cookouts, stop asking people when you gonna have a baby, why you ain't got no kids. It's rude and it hurts people's feelings, because I get to make a decision on what it is that I want and what I think is best for me. So now we are going to talk to Regina, and we're going to talk about, and I know a lot of women are listening to this, and this programming that we're doing on New You Nation Network is for the mature crowd, because we don't have much for us where we can have these real conversations to heal, whole, and be nurtured. So I know this is good for a lot of the grandmothers who are listening, who have become the grandmama. You're a grandmother when they're your grandkids, but you're a grandmama because you got to take them because your kids, whatever may have happened, good or bad, but the grandbabies come live with you. So you grandmama and not grandmother or mima or nie, and they staying in the house with you. So Regina, tell us a little bit about motherhood from that aspect.
Okay. Yes, I have 2 grown sons. Okay. I have 2 grown sons, and I had to take on this last year my grandson, who's 10 years old. Now, I'm an empty nester, have been an empty nester for 7, 8 years, maybe 10 years. And now I had to take on this responsibility of taking on a 10-year-old. And I'm like, oh my goodness. What am I going to do? My whole life stopped.
Oh,
But um, unfortunately, his mom is not in his life. And my son has had his son since he was 1.5. And so, because of some situations that he got into, and I had to step up to the plate. Do I want to take my grandson or do I want him to go to the system? And
Mhm.
it was a huge choice. Of course, I didn't want to go
wow.
to
Wait a
the system.
minute. Wait. Let's stop right there. Let us just stop right there and marinate on the responsibility. Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
62.
The responsibility of a
Wow.
62-year-old woman who has been an empty nester on her own, who has paid her price by raising her children and putting to have to take on. I have a 12-year-old and I'll be 52. And I'm telling you, he be running me in the upside down and in the ground. So I just wanted to touch on that to make that decision of it's really not my responsibility, but do I want my grandson in the system?
Exactly. Because
I
I went
praise
back
you
and
for this.
forth. I talked to several people, and surprisingly, a lot of women told me it's not your responsibility. But
Mm,
as
Mhm.
a person and with my values and stuff, I could not see my grandson going that route. It was a hard decision. I mean, he jumps up and down. I mean, he loves me. It's so cute when I get sick or something. He's not used to me because I'm a very active person. I have my own business. I do a lot of things. Very involved in the community with my church. A lot of things. So when he sees like, Grandma, why you're not feeling well? I'm just, or if I'm by myself, I'm quiet. He doesn't understand it, and he gets scared. He thinks something is wrong with me, and so I have to take into all of that. Then I have to take on all his energy, which a
mm.
10-year-old, and he was also diagnosed for um, what is it called when they have to take medicine, because he does take medicine. Uh,
Is it ADD?
yes. That
Yes.
was a challenge within himself, and getting calls from the school like, I'm not used to this. The school called me today. He's sick and he's just wanting to be a baby. Grandma, can you come pick me up? No, I'm still working. You already know. So I had to talk him off the ledge, but then he turns into a baby. And I'm like, you know what?
This is so good.
This is not
Gina,
happening.
this is so good. And this is why we wanted to talk about motherhood and the struggles. I mean, there are struggles, there are highs and there are lows. We're gonna talk about some of the highs too, because I know we're about to go to Netta and talk about her two children. So the dynamic of raising a son and a daughter and the difference. And I just want to praise Netta on her daughter graduating from Howard at the top of her class. I just have to say that. Just I really have to say that because it's something that you instilled in her. So just talk a little bit about the dynamic of how you raised your son and versus how you raised your daughter and the difference in them that you saw.
Mm. It's huge. Boys and girls are completely different, just as we as individuals are different. But I have to say, the place from which I started parenting is God, you gave me these beautiful gifts, and I don't want to disappoint you.
Ooh.
So I took it very seriously. So I am that mom who was at the school in the everything, field trips, all of that, because I take it seriously. I took it seriously in the beginning and I still do. But one thing I will say, it wasn't perfect because there's no manual that comes with this thing. And I am a doer, meaning that I get up, you get stuff done, come on, let's go. I am that kind of mom. And on the backside of that, I wish that I had taken the time to just be more,
Oh.
just be with them, because the time goes by so quickly. But the difference between the boys and girls, for me, my daughter is a communicator. We can relate. We're girls. We can talk like that. Whereas I struggled once my son or our son hit his preteen. I felt like I was losing that connection with him. So I want to encourage, it's okay to find support. It's okay to research and figure out how to reach your child, because the world is angry, the world is rude, the world is mean. And we wanted to make sure our children were built up at home.
Oh.
So when they go out in the world, they don't get beat up at home and out in the world. When they come home, they get built up.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so it's important to pour. It's important to pay attention. Watch those cues. If you know your child, you know when
Yes.
something's off. So have communication. And I think I struggled a little more with my son, or our son, in communication, simply because he's a male. He doesn't communicate the same way. His personality was different. So what I would encourage others to do, as we chose to do, we had them take the love language assessment,
Wow.
because I never wanted, or we didn't want our children to not feel the deepest love that we actually have for them. Love it can be displayed in so many different ways, and they receive it in their own individual way. So it's so important to pour into them the way that they need to receive it. Yes, you can say you love your child all day long, but if it's not in a way that they can receive it, they still have a deficit. And so
Wow.
that's something I had to research. My husband and I got together on, so that we could make sure when our children left home, they left home full and not empty.
Wow. Wait a minute. Let me just say something about just the dynamic of how each of us was raised. So what I'm hearing from you, Netta, is something totally different than my viewpoint on parenting. I wasn't that parent because I didn't have that parenting from my mom. But in the beginning, you said my relationship with my mother was very good. It was loving. It was kind. And I can see the difference in the dynamic of my thoughts as a mother was survival mode.
Mm.
Your thoughts as a mother was, I'm going to prepare them so I don't have to repair them.
Mhm.
My thoughts was, I'm surviving. Like, my mother did this what I'm trying to do. This what we do. Like, we survive over here. You get yours, I get mine. Let me teach my boys, and I'm more from the hood. So
Mhm.
I just want women to understand that we're doing the best that we can from where we came from. If you
Mhm.
didn't have a specific type of love from your mother and nurturing, there's no way that you can be a nurturer the way that you would like to be until you unlearn something. So thank you for sharing that there were things that you guys were preparing them for so that you didn't have to repair them. And I want the new mothers to hear that are listening, and even the moms who have teenagers in the house now. Work on that now so you don't have to rebuild your child as an adult. So we're going to go to Gina. Hey, Gina. So
How you
Gina, I
doing,
want to talk to
Trey?
you basically because you were a mom who was raised by your mom and your grandmom. So you had a mother and a
Yes.
grandmother, a grandmama. Oh, we lost Gina. Gina will be back in 1 second. But Gina was raised by her grandmother, and Gina was a mom that was at home that cooked all the time. She prepared meals. So when she comes back in, we're going to talk about the dynamic of how important it was for her to cook home cooked meals. Tell us about how you cooked in your home and why it was important for you to make sure you cooked for your children.
Well, cooking is a love language for me. And I didn't really appreciate what that was until I became a mom and responsible for taking care of my family and my household. Um, I was raised by my grandmother for a few years. She took a few of us, and my sister and I, three of my cousins, and she raised us all together with my uncle and my granddad for about between 3 to 4 years. I watched her cook. She cooked everything from scratch. And my mom is an excellent cook too, but I learned the foundation of what that meant, how she would take something and, I just thought that my grandmother produced magic with her fingers because she always made sure we had breakfast. We had, if it was summer school, we had lunch and dinner. Um, my mom is a great cook, but my mother was younger. My mother was a teenage mom, and I think for what she worked with, she really did a great job. As I got older, I got to appreciate that better. But when it came to cooking and stuff, she also taught me some things. Um, as a young mom, she worked hard, and I was the eldest out of two siblings, so I was the responsible one. So growing up, I had to be the one to cook and look out for my sister and take care
Oh,
of the
wait.
house.
Hold on. Let me stop you right there. You was a mother before you was a mother. Right?
I guess so. I guess so. I guess that's why it came easy to me when I had my first child. It was just like, okay, so I'm a mother. That's what I'm supposed to do. I was supposed to take care of my children. I'm supposed to provide a roof over their head. They're supposed to have a relationship with God, and I'm supposed to make sure they eat right. Like, I don't know where they're supposed to eat right and get a great education, because that's what I was taught from the crib. My grandmother taught us how to cook. She said if you want to eat, you better learn how to cook, and you have to get your education. So that was something that she instilled in me. My mom did too, but I really heard that a lot from my grandmother. I guess she came from a place where she only got maybe a sixth or eighth grade education, so she made it a priority to tell her grandchildren that we needed to make sure we got our education, as well as make sure we knew how to cook.
Wow.
So I passed that on to my children too, and I am happy to say, I was listening to what Netta shared in regards to understanding your children's love languages, and it's so important. I have four children, three daughters and one son, and they each are so different. They're so unique in who they are, and the one thing I learned is that you can't treat them all the same way.
Oh,
You have to figure out what's unique to them. Even when it came to discipline, growing up back in the day, it was across the board. Everybody got what everybody got. I'm just saying that's how it
that-
was for me.
that's it.
But when I became a mom, I realized, that didn't really work. It didn't really work for us, but we didn't have any choice. There wasn't no conversation, right? My mother tried that talk and stuff, but that only went so far. I knew it was important to be different. Discipline was necessary, but I also need to know what worked for them.
Mm,
No. And that took time, and they don't come with a handbook. I wanted to pour into them, but I was still learning how to pour into me.
mm.
And so I've realized as I grew and I looked at them, I had to have individual conversations with them to apologize for some of the things that I did or didn't do that
Ooh.
impacted them in a way that wasn't to their benefit.
Oh,
And I actually had that conversation with each one of them, especially the first three.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
goodness.
yeah, but I
That's
mean, so I had to because as I got older, I looked at my grandmother's life, I looked at my mom, and I realized that I needed to have a level of forgiveness for what they did or didn't do after understanding how they grew up. So
wow.
so then I needed to do that with my children and let them know I'm not perfect. I made some mistakes, but I gave you all the love I knew how to give, and I'm going to continue to do that. And I'm so fortunate that each of them forgave,
That's it.
because they know that I loved them. They still know I loved them. They were like, "Mom, why you bugging? This, we're good." I was like, "No, but sometimes we are our own worst critics.
Yes.
Because we want to do it right. We know we only got one shot. Once they get older, they're out there. We don't have a say so. So we try to give them as much as we can from the vessel that we have.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and depending on how we came into this motherhood situation, sometimes it's great. We've got a lot to pull from, and sometimes we have to learn how to build ourselves up. And while we're doing that, we still have to be a mother and pour into our children. I was like Netta. I was in everything: PTA, field school trips, packing their lunches. I would buy extra lunches for the children that they had. I had to be there because that was my job.
Let me
That
say
was
this. So let me free the other parents who weren't that parent,
yeah,
because I wasn't that parent. I wasn't at the PTA and all of that. I was there for my children, and I made sure that everything was good. But I didn't have that. That wasn't a priority of mine because I had never seen it. My mother wasn't at PTA. My mother wasn't there to say, you're going to college. This is how you fill out a college application. So that wasn't my journey, but I'm happy, like, that's Netta's journey and that's Regina's journey. But I want us to understand that some mothers who did not get that nurturing and that love to be able to do that and carry that in their home, you're okay. And another thing I see, Jem Jewel Miller said, yes. Excuse me. Yes, the first three, I've apologized, and sometimes I call them and randomly apologize. I want to say this as a mother. We're doing the best that we could do. And once we apologize and we own our stuff and we take accountability for the things that we did not know, I want us really, once we say that sorry and we offer therapy or coaching or whatever our child may need, I want us to stop apologizing. Okay, we have to stop as mothers crucifying ourselves for the things that we just did not know. Right? Like Regina said, like Gina said, on this journey, I was learning and growing as I was going along. And so many of us as mothers, we take on this burden that and a lot of times, and I'm going to say this, our grown children put this burden on our back to keep digging up our past. And we have to tell them, if you want to live there, that's where you can stay. But I've grown and I apologize, and I will not apologize again for what I did not know. I am remorseful. I have shown remorse. I have repented to God, and I'm going to move forward because I have forgiven myself. And I hope that you can forgive me, but we are not going to continue to apologize to our grown children for what we did not know. I'm sorry. I just had to say that. I'm going to move over. And I'm saying this because let me be 100% transparent right now. And my girl is here right now in the comments and she said 100% truth, Trey. Let me say this right now. I'm going through something with my oldest son right now that I never in my life imagined. He is the first person that showed me how to love something unconditionally. Like I would take a bullet for him. Like I would, if they said, either you get a breath or he gets a breath. One of y'all have to go. I would give my son, I'm not going to get emotional, because it's been 7 months since my child spoke to me, right? 7 months. And I will give him my last breath. But I am not going to live and be blamed for where my grown child is right now. I have apologized. I have explained to the world. Anybody who does not know knows that I committed adultery. I got here by way of committing adultery, and my children were taken out of the house with me because I would not leave them. And Sheila, I'm going to say this to you. There's some days when I wish, but I have no regrets now because this was a learning journey for me, that I wished I had left them with their dad. But the selfish part of me took them when I wasn't emotionally stable or whole. And I took them with me on my journey in my car of life, I call, and they hit every bump, pothole, brush, dead end.
Mm-hmm.
But I have apologized, and I have offered my son counseling, and I have offered my son coaching, and I have given my son everything under the sun that I think I could give, even blood through a C-section. So on our journey as mothers with our adult children, sometimes we have to let them go to let them grow. And we have to stop crucifying ourselves. I'm not going to be sorry another day because I'm not doing anything wrong. I really have made some mistakes in my life, but right now in my life, in front of y'all and all of these people who may be watching us right now, I have integrity, I have morals, I have values, and I live my life right now. And nobody, not even our children, have the right to crucify us because of the mistakes that they're making. You got to keep your mistakes on my plate because I have cleaned my plate and I'm not going to carry yours. So I'm going to go over to Shayla, and Shayla is going to talk to us. Shayla is a auntie mommy. She has nieces and nephews who she is the auntie to. I call her auntie mommy. Before I had kids, my best friend Ann, her children used to call me auntie mommy because I didn't have any kids and I was their auntie and I was like the mommy. And she's going to talk to us from her viewpoint of what motherhood is and how it has affected her. Shayla?
Wow. So I was trying not to get emotional. You just call me Auntie Mommy. So, having grown up, I mentioned my mom, who was also deceased. But growing up with my parents back in, because I'm Panamanian, growing up with my parents, and in a household of four siblings, but it's a total of six. But there's four siblings. My brother is older, and then my two sisters, and we were together up until the age of 10. And then we were separated that's a whole nother story, but for about 6 years. And then we reunited when I was about 15, 16 years old. But during that time, I had it in my head that I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to be married and have children. And so I had decided a long time ago that I would not do one before the other, meaning I wouldn't have a child before being married, because I felt strongly that there needed to be both parents in a household. And so I didn't want to have a child without having a husband. And that was a conscious decision, as much as it hurt me to not have a child, because that was a strong desire. But I wanted my own family, and that involved a husband and a child, not just a child. I thought it would be selfish of me to just have a child, just to say that I have a child and I'm a mother. I respect
Wow.
I respect single mothers very strongly, because I can see it's not easy. I can't say I know it's not easy because I haven't experienced it, but I can see I've seen the struggles. My sister at one point was married, but then became divorced and was a single mother. And so my niece is a beautiful Talia Robinson. By the way, look her up. She's on Broadway.
That's right.
Shameless plug. But yes, I am auntie, godmother, and my godchildren's siblings call me auntie as well. I'm auntie at my church. The little children and are, they call me auntie. And I've watched children grow up to become parents and become wives and husbands. And sometimes I looked at that and I saw myself, and I used to think, well, what's wrong with me? Why didn't I get blessed with,
Oh,
being a mother, but also being a wife? Like,
oh
that was
goodness.
something that I desired. That was the desire of my heart. And it's taken a long time for me to even be able to talk about it. So
Mm,
me being able to talk about it right now without getting completely emotional is huge progress for me.
yes.
And in my healing and coming into a place of, I don't want to say acceptance, because that would mean that I would no longer want to be a mother. That's not where I am at, but a place of not hurting as much anymore,
Mm,
not being in that place. I do thank every mother and every parent that has allowed me to have any kind of influence or say or example in their children's life, because I understand the importance of people that surround your children and influence your children in one shape or another. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you all that have allowed me to be in that space with your child. Whether it be present or past. And but it has been a difficult journey for me to get to this place. I have missed baby showers of friends because I was not in a good headspace, and I didn't want to be at their event in that mode.
wow.
So I would excuse myself from being there in that happy moment, to share that happy moment with them. It wasn't everybody. There were some baby showers that I was able to go and be okay, but there was some that I knew and I felt like I'm not going to be right, and I would excuse myself from being there and celebrating such a joyous moment with them.
Mm,
I do
mm.
love children. I am a nurturer. um, they love me back, and I find that God, ironically, has used children to speak to me in times that I needed a message of some kind.
Wow.
I remember there was a child that really wouldn't pay me any attention. She was probably about 3 years old. And one Sunday morning, because I was sitting in the front row, and during offering, everybody would have to walk in front of me. So that particular Sunday, I was not in a good space. And this little girl came by. She looked up at me. She put her arms up. I hugged her, and she just tapped me on my shoulder, almost just to say, it's going to be okay.
Wow.
So I want to encourage those of you out there that have had this desire but have not gotten it fulfilled. I would say I am 57 years old. Yes, I am. um,
You don't look a day over 26, girl.
I receive it. So just to be encouraged and accept the journey and trust God in that there is a purpose for you.
And keep being them auntie mommies. I'm telling you, no, sometimes we don't understand, like, aunts have a different connection than mothers. And sometimes that auntie role plays such a pivotal role in a child's life because the child can't really say what they want to say to their mother. And they can
Right.
come to auntie mommy and be like, hey, I know you still have boundaries and I know you still gonna hold my mom down, but how do I say this to her? Or how do I navigate through this? So it is important for us all to know whether we have children, because before I was a mother like Gina, before I was a mother, I helped raise my niece. I helped my sister raise my niece, and I thank her for that. So we have to understand as mothers that maternal instinct is in us, whether we have a child biologically or not, because it is supposed to be in us. And when we don't have our own children, we are supposed to spread that love amongst the children because we are the mothers of the earth, period.
Mhm.
Each and every one of us. So we're at 8:45. I told y'all this time was going to go fast.
Yeah.
I was talking
Yes.
crazy, but I wanted our audience to get to know the Woman to Woman show host. And I wanted to say to you guys, I thank you for stepping out of your comfort zone to be on here. I've been on many platforms. This is what I do. This is what I love. This is not easy for everybody to be on video, to be live, and to share your scars or to be vulnerable. And I just wanted to touch on a couple more things really quickly before we have our final word. So each of us will go around and have our final word. But I wanted to touch on something really quickly with Netta. And that is, and I hope you don't mind me sharing that. I know that you're caring for your mom. And I just wanted, because I was on that journey, and it's a hard thing when we talk about motherhood and our mommy. So I just wanted to just have you talk a little bit about that. And I just wanted to thank you for your strength. I just wanted to thank you for sharing your children with me. Like, I love your daughter. Like, she is a bad chick. Like, because her mama bad. And I mean bad Michael Jackson bad. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted you to share a little bit on that of how it is to care for your mom.
I'll say it's not been easy, of course. And just for the sake of bringing everybody to up to speed, Mom was diagnosed with breast cancer in November of 2020. And we are 7 hours apart in terms of distance. And it's a diagnosis that you never want to really hear for anyone, but especially your mom. But what I can say is I've learned so much. And again, just like I was honored to receive children, I am honored to serve my mother. I know there are sacrifices she made for me that I will never know about. But to be able to walk this journey with her, every appointment that I could be there for, every doctor's call. If I couldn't be in person, we had to be on the phone, because one thing I've learned is that they need a second set of ears and eyes engaged in care, because when that diagnosis comes, the thoughts aren't always clear. It's all overwhelming, and there can be some things missed. So if you're able to serve in that way, I encourage you to do that. Again, this has been a difficult road, but by God's grace, she is coming out on the other side of it. Had a conversation with her oncologist who said she has never had a patient to go through the treatment like my mom has. And all glory to God for that. We did a lot of research because I have 29 years of healthcare experience. So I'm grateful. God knew back then, before I ever chose what my career would be, that I could use it for her.
Yes, Lord.
And anybody who knows me knows that I'll use it with you as well.
Yes, I just wanted you to share
I'm
that.
sorry.
It's okay. No, I just wanted you to share that piece because there are a lot of women now who are caring for their parents, whether it's because they're elderly or they got a diagnosis. And I just wanted to share, I wanted you to share that piece to show that we have to love on them as hard as it is because you're still a mother, you're still a wife. So you have to leave your family to make those sacrifices to go with your mom based on the sacrifices that she made for you and the ones that you will never know that she made for you. So I'm going to go around the room because we have 10 minutes left.
Can I just say really quickly,
Yes,
Trey?
please.
I want to thank my family, my husband and my children,
Yes.
because it's a family ordeal
Yeah.
when a family member is sick. It's not one person
Yes.
taking the hit for that.
Mm,
And they held it down when I couldn't be here. And I'm grateful to them. So just, I wanted to say thank you.
Mama Netta. Yes. Netta is so nurturing, right? Me and Netta met online and we have never ever lost the connection. And when I say that, Netta is my friend. Like I've met a lot of people on this journey and they've come and gone. But Netta is my friend. She is one of the most genuine women that I've ever met in my life. And I have to say about each and every woman on this panel that is here with me today, they're part of my membership program, which is New You Nation, and we're living our best life right now, right? They joined New You Nation to just leap off the ledge, as Theo would say, leap in 2020. And they are some bad chicks, and they've been on this. I look at each and every one of them, and I can't believe they've been on this journey with me for such a long time. And the majority of them I met online, other than Sheila. Sheila's been in my life for a very long time, probably over 30 years, 20, something like that, a very long time. She's family.
Yep.
And I just honor them because they honor me, because they're here because they believe in something that I'm doing. And that's big because we don't support everything and we shouldn't. So I humbly thank them tonight. One, because I'm very transparent. Y'all know I tell all my business. And for you guys to come on this journey with me, and we had a conversation too before we got on, and I came to them and I said, I want you guys to be I want you guys to be hosts on the Woman to Woman show. But I also told them we are here under attack, right? And I had this conversation
Yeah.
with, we prayed, and I told them we are here under attack because the enemy is attacking me based on my purpose and where I'm going and what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to heal the land. I'm trying to heal women from the devastation of infidelity. I'm trying to restore families and marriages. And the enemy hates marriage because God loves marriage. So I told them, when y'all mount up and lock arms with me, I'm gonna need y'all to be prepared for the attack. And I said, if anybody wants to get off this ride, I understand. And these women mounted up, stood strong, and said, "Nah, we doing this." So I just want to thank y'all, and we'll be here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from 8 to 9 p.m. with different topics that are important to us as women, and we are seasoned women. We think that we need this platform for the other seasoned women because there's not much out here for us. We are going through things in life. We are in the second half of our life now, and we want to bring some women along the journey with us that we've learned some things along the journey. So it is not rocket science. You should be living your best life. And we want to take this journey with you. We want to go through some healing from motherhood. The motherhood, I said this, motherhood is ghetto. Motherhood is the hoodiest of the hoodiest of the hoods. I've never been to a hood like motherhood, and I lived in every area. If you from the East Coast and you from Jersey, I done lived in every hood in Essex County. I done lived in Irvington, Northeast Orange, Blue. I done lived in, and motherhood is the hoodiest hood I ever lived in. It is murky. It is not easy. It is no handbook for it. There are highs, there are lows, and I know all of us have had some really good highs because I know most of your children, and we have done our best as mothers. Again, I want to say to the mothers on here with grown children, that ish is not easy. Okay, when it's time to let them go, you don't want to let them go. because you know they're going out into this mean, cruel world, but you got to be confident in what you have instilled in them, even though they're going to go down the wrong, dark alleys. And like I said to you guys, I am very transparent. My son is living his life, and I had to really let my child go, which is, it breaks me sometimes, but I handed him over to God. So I'm comfortable, and I know God got him covered. Even if he ain't want to be connected to God, I'm his connection. Lord, give my blessing to my two, him and his girlfriend. Bless them, Lord, under my covenant. Bless them, Lord, under my blessing. Cover them, God. I pray for my child, so I'm okay with that. But I want us to know as parents, mothers, we have done the best that we could do. We are forgiven. We still not gonna get it right.
Mm.
But we gonna walk in the light and we gonna understand that we are okay. And for the mothers, the auntie mommies on the panel, thank y'all. And for Shay, I told you, me and Shay have sidebar conversations. Sarah had a baby at 100. I don't care what y'all say. God is good. I'm not saying you're gonna have a baby at 100, but just in case, you know what? Listen, you don't never know. So I'm glad you guys tuned in. So we're gonna go around the room and we're gonna give our final thoughts. We will start with Theo. And what is your final thought? What would you just like for anybody listening to know?
So, I mean, the first thing being the one woman, well, one of the women on the panel that doesn't have children is like, if you want children and that is your desire, I would say don't give up on it. And if you have made the decision, as I have, to be a auntie mom and not have children, be okay with that. Don't be ashamed of it. I would say that would be the thing to women. I would also say to, you know, those women that may struggle with their relationship with their mom, the one thing that I learned from my therapist was, one, as each and every one of you said, there's no manual for motherhood. And sometimes you just need to sit down with your mom and ask her about her life, because in that you may learn a lot about how she parented and why the dynamic in your relationship may be the way that it is, right? And so I would say to truly, truly just remember there is no manual for motherhood. And sometimes just sitting down and have a frank conversation, just to listen to your mother explain to you about their lives, will tell you a lot about how they parented, right? And then just to my fellow panelists, you ladies who we're on this journey together. I am so excited and delighted to be on this journey with you. I hope that we are able to demonstrate to other women that the myth that women cannot get along and support each other is just that, a myth.
Wow, thank you, Theo. I want to point out something that Theo said really quickly. We might go over a little bit over our time, but we'll get better as we go along. Theo said, "My therapist said it's okay to get therapy, moms. My therapist said we all need help, and I want you guys to understand. Get the help that you need. My therapist said." Thank you, Theo, for sharing that, for even bringing that to light and saying that my therapist said. Sheila, give us your final thoughts.
You know, it's everything is a learning process. And again, as we keep saying, there is no manual. You learn as you go. You take parts of how you were raised and you make the decision as to whether or not that's how you want to raise your child. And then you take those other parts that weren't so good and you leave those behind, but you find a different path. Everyone's journey is different. And what God has for you, He has just for you. So that's what you always have to keep in mind. Love yourself first, because in order for your child to be healthy, you have to be healthy. And I think that's one of the pieces that's always missing. Part of being healthy may mean turning your child over to somebody that's going to love them just as much, if not more, than you are capable of doing. And that's okay.
Come
But
on,
make
Pastor.
sure that you are healthy first.
Come
And
on,
that has to
Pastor.
come from the inside. And that too is a learning process. So don't think you're going to get it right from the very beginning. Every day, every other day, every year, it's changing. It's ever evolving, and that's okay.
Come on, Pastor Sheila. Come on, pass the collection plate. I ain't playing. We're gonna bring Gina in next. Come on, Gina, give us your final thoughts.
Really quick, this is a journey. Motherhood is a journey. Whether you're an auntie, mom, a mother, or a grandmother, it's a journey. And it's in some of the uncomfortable stages of motherhood is where you learn your best lessons. And as long as we are mothers, we will always be mothers to our children.
Mm,
Whether they love the fact that we are, or we are in relationship with them or not, we will always be their mothers. And in this season and space of time, God has a way of bringing things full circle. And I've seen it, I've been a witness to it. And just be patient with yourself and be patient with the journey. And just keep
come on.
on being who you are every day.
Come on now, Gina. Come on now, Gina. We're gonna take it over to Shayla.
Well, I'll say this. I think for many years, my focus was on that desire of family and children and husband. And so in this season of my life, I've switched my focus to be on God. And for those that don't know, I am Christian and I believe in God and my faith is strong. And so I've decided once I made that decision, I believe that's why I can sit here and speak on this subject without getting, blubberly emotional. Trust the journey, trust God. There is a purpose for my life because I'm still here and breathing. So I am, I've decided to switch my focus on him and allow him to guide me to where I need to be, whatever the path that he has for me. And so I encourage all of you out there that are in my position to just do just that. Switch your focus.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Listen here. I just wanted women to hear the different aspects of motherhood from all of us because each of us needs to hear something from one of us. All of our stories are important. All of our experiences with motherhood is important for somebody. Somebody needs Shayla. Somebody needs Netta. Somebody needs Theo. Somebody needs Gina. Somebody needs Regina. Somebody needs Sheila. And somebody needs Trey. Somebody is looking right now saying, that's me. And they're thankful that we are sharing. I always say this: truth plus transparency equals healing.
Equals healing.
The more truth we tell, the more
Yes.
transparent we are. Not only do we heal, but the people around us heal. So I'm going to go over to Netta.
I would just like to say, never stop learning. None of us knows everything, as you've heard. We're always learning. And it's a beautiful thing to learn from somebody who is coming from a place of love. And you have to be
Yes.
wise in who you receive from. Everybody can't pour into your cup. But it's awesome to know that you can reach out. There are, God has people placed all over to be of support so that we can make this journey together. Our journeys are unique, just like we are, but God is our source. It's the same source, same solution to the problem. I would also like to say, be open to learning. Don't stay in a corner and just hurt on your own. There's always somebody willing to help you. And I'm grateful that I have all of these beautiful women that I can rely on. And just like we can rely on each other, everybody has somebody that they can go to, even if it's us. You'll see our contact information. That's why we're here. We want everybody to be healthy and whole, healed together so that families can be impacted.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, Netta. We're going to keep it moving right on to Regina. Because we got Gina and Regina. So we on to Regina.
Thank you. I want to say about motherhood is the best gift that I had that God bestowed on me to be a mother of two boys. But what I would say about motherhood is do not be apologetic. You do the best that you can, as all of us have said, and don't get lost in it.
Don't get
Because at
lost.
the end of the day, you have to be healthy yourself. So if you're not healthy, you can't help your kids. And as a grown woman with grown kids, and then had to take on my grandson, I found myself getting lost. But then I found myself again, and freedom is what it's all about. And don't apologize for it, and let them go and pray on them, and it'll be okay. Because you have to fly. So right now, I'm in my season of freedom.
Love it. Love it.
You in your season of what?
Freedom.
Oh my
Because
goodness.
you're going to be free. And in order that you're going to blossom, and you're not going to continue to apologize, as you said, Trey. And I, too, had some confrontations with my son. I had to let him go. Sometimes he came back and apologized. But I got in that thing, oh, my God, what did I do? But you know what? I didn't do anything wrong. I did the best that I had with the hand that I was dealt. So I'm waiting on that new hand, and I'm fine in it. And I'm going to be free about it. And that's it. That's part of being a mother.
Yes. My final thought is, again, we are doing the best that we can do as moms.
Mm-hmm.
We have learned and we have grown, and we are trying still. And I have to say, as a mother and to the mothers of children, of grown children, sometimes you have to let them go so they can grow. As painful as it is to have to watch a part of you walk around, and they will get hurt on their journey, but it is their journey. So we have to free them from our car of life and put them in the driver's seat of their life, and trust, without a doubt, as hard as it may be, what you instilled in them will show up. Right? Release them back to God, right? Train up a child. And that's what the word says. Train up a child. They will return to him, right? God's word will not come back to us void. He said it in his word. It will not return to me void. So if you are really a believer, and you know that you know in your heart you did the best that you could as a mother, that you loved on your children and you taught them right from wrong, trust that they will do what is right in the end. But they do have to go on our journey just as we have. We have made terrible mistakes. We have made big mistakes. We have made small mistakes. We have made great decisions, grand decisions, bad decisions, but we are still here. And I'm sure our mothers and fathers had the same anxiety, the same experiences of, oh my God, my child is going down the wrong path. Oh my God, my child is doing so great, but we're here and we're okay. So they're going to be okay. So thank you again tonight for tuning into the Woman to Woman show. We hope that we will see you here every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We ask that you would invite a friend. We ask that you would tell a friend. We ask that you would share the broadcast, share. Somebody needs to hear this. If you need to get in touch with any of us, all of our contact information, our Instagram handles are on our names. We will be happy to talk to you, to support you, because when one of us wins, we all win. So I love you guys, and we'll see you next week for the Woman to Woman show at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same stations. You can find us on YouTube and Facebook Live. You can find us on YouTube. Make sure you go find us. The link is in my bio. And we just thank you again for allowing us to be in your life and in your living room or in your phone or in your car, because for you to allow us in your space is a privilege. So thank you and good night.
Woman to woman, you lift me up. I hope that I can do the same for you. You were there when no one else would. Take the burden away, that's how we do. Sister, I need you to walk with me on this journey. Yes, hold me accountable, cause sometimes I need to know the truth. Sister, I love you. We're one and the same, cause we're sharing the pain of the world as we know.